Well, you can leave, but we don't even know you. We don't even know you.
What's good, y'all? Lonnie Appleton here, and this video brings up a story time. Now, I don't believe that this is exactly biblical, but I am a firm believer of everything that's done in the dark comes to light. All of my daughter's social media and her accounts are on my computer and my phone. And yes, I've caught her deleting messages after she sent them. I'm just like, sis, I don't gotta snoop behind you because everything that's done in the dark comes to light. I'm a mother of 4. I have a 20-year-old, a 13-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And I don't run behind none of them. Why? Because everything done in the dark comes to light. Everything Holy Spirit needs me to know, I know. And that doesn't mean my kids don't get away with nothing. My 20-year-old came to me and was like, Mom, let me tell you about that era of. I'm like, dang, I'm happy you didn't get caught up, because what? So I don't learn everything, but everything Holy Spirit needs me to know, I find out. So let's get into this story time. I rarely am out and about, but when I'm out and about, I'm out and about. And I'm rarely out and about on this side of town. But this particular day, I'm out and about. I don't remember. I was at the dollar store. I know that for sure. I leave the dollar store, and as soon as I get in my car, I'm like, dang, I should have got me a drink. Let me stop at Walgreens and grab a drink. And I'm driving from the dollar store. It's a short distance to the Walgreens. And I'm like, I don't feel like going to the Walgreens. I'm going to go to CVS. So I pass up the Walgreens. Remember, I could have got a drink at the dollar store, which would have been cheaper than Walgreens or CVS. But I didn't get the urge to get a drink until I left the dollar store. You got to pay attention to when things come upon you. Because when you start paying attention, you can understand you were being Holy Spirit guided. I could have went to Walgreens. It was right there, and I really wanted me something to drink. You know, I like me a good little sugary pop. Little sugar on my tongue. But nope, I was just like, and see, we don't understand. There's things that we are experiencing. It's either going to be our own thoughts, intrusive thoughts, which is the enemy, demonic entities that came in through open doors, so they're whispering stuff and trying to distort what's going on, or it's the Holy Spirit. If you got other voices in there, like there's medical things going on, I have my own opinion about those things, but these are the three things that we as Christians know to be true. I mean, I can't help but teach, but this really ain't a teaching video. This is really just a story time, but for some reason I can't just tell the story. So you either got your own thoughts, which are mind, will, and emotion, which is your soul. You have your flesh, which is governed by sin, even though Jesus became sin. But depending on which way your soul leans, your flesh is, something that Satan can manipulate. Satan can't touch your spirit, which is the third aspect of you. But Satan can touch your flesh through your soul, depending on how it leans. So you have your thoughts, you have demonic oppression and little whispers that you'll get because, you opened the door. And then you have your spirit. So if you're not spending your life feeding your spirit, your soul is naturally going to lean towards your flesh. So I'm looking at this young man and I'm like, does he spend time in his Bible? If they're Christians, if they're not, that says everything to me. Because when you don't have the Holy Spirit, now you are completely depending on a moral code. And I could tell by the way this young man is moving now. It could be he heard grandma, he immediately froze up. But I could tell from his body language, his heart really wasn't in it. Anytime I was out there doing dirt, I was always trailing in the back because I was like, I'm here because we're here, but I don't really want to be here. This is going to the club. This is going out drinking. This is going out to go see people. This is going out doing anything. It doesn't have to be illegal. It's just doing something I know I'm not supposed to be doing because I'm not spending time in my spirit. I'm spending more time in my flesh. My soul, which is my mind, will, and emotion, is leaning more towards fleshly desires. I want to fit in. So this young man, if he's not spending time with God, if he doesn't have the Holy Spirit because they're not Christians, he's spending more time in his flesh. So his barometer of morality is his grandmama's voice in his head. You don't ever want to be the loudest voice in your kid's head, because especially if they play like you and they don't really like you because you're a tyrant, but they respect you because of your title, their friend's voice is going to override you every time. So you want the Holy Spirit to be the loudest voice in your children's ears. That's why I set all my children down in front of my pastor, and this is my 20-year-old says that I ambushed her with the Holy Spirit. All I know is I was sitting up in church and I was like, hold up, my salvation don't cover my children. They need their own relationship. Hold on. So I got my children saved. Yes, I did not get their approval. I do feel as a mother, I have the right to get my children saved. Now, I will say I got my husband ambushed, but that's a whole nother story. I'm just saying he walk around saying he know Jesus, but I'm looking at the fruit and I'm just like, is you just saying you know Jesus, or do you really know Jesus? Because he working in delay. But again, not this story. But what is it if it's not me feeding your soul? Like, it's not a Lonnie Appleton video if I'm not also feeding you. So anyway, leave the dollar store, suddenly get the urge to get a drink, pass by the Walgreens, like, I don't want to go there, I'm going to CVS, pull into the pull into the CVS, get out my truck, I'm standing in line to pay for my little sugary pop, and I look over to my left, and mind you, I was told to look to the left. To the left, to the left. I was told to look to the left, and I see my child walk in and walk out, and I'm like, was that my kid? Now, I'm going to pay for my sugary pop, and I'm going to go, when I turn the corner to go out the store, and I see my 2 children who don't have no money standing outside the store. We get home, and I isolate the 2, and I go to the youngest one, and I say, come here. What were you doing in that store? Well, it turns out my kids for months, because they linked up with some other kids who taught them how to steal. As if that's a skill set you need to be teaching other kids. So now my kid is including my other kid in this whole little racketeering scheme that they got going on at the CVS. And my kid is like, I'm just a backpack. I'm like, oh, y'all trying to go to jail. Oh, you trying to get my little black boy killed in these streets for some yum-yums and some skip-skips. So I say all that to say that Holy Spirit led me to that CVS that day. I usually don't drink soda. I was at 2 opportunities before. The 3rd opportunity, Holy Spirit told me to go to that CVS. I'm rarely outside of the house, but on this day, I'm on this side of town looking for a sugary pop. So just make sure when you're listening to one of those 3 voices, it's always the Holy Spirit. Because when you're listening to the Holy Spirit, something just going to come upon you and be like, you know what? I think I'll do this. And while you're doing it, something that we learned from Philip when he came across the eunuch in the little chariot thing, Philip and the eunuch in the Bible. How'd he come across that eunuch? Because God told him to go somewhere. It's rarely about the destination. It's usually about the journey. So if you're listening to the Holy Spirit, you're going to find out what he wants you to find out along the way. And y'all stop stealing. That young man could really be having some major issues behind a bag of chips. And them ones in the front, they got an unbright future because the way they was hauling behind, they had multiple bags of chips, which means they was trying to get as much as they can. And the way that they were hauling out, they already know how to get up and go. Pay attention, y'all. You can't be so desperate for friends that these are the friends that you choose. And I impressed upon my children, the way that I educate my children is I have them go into a state of self-reflection. When you're sitting there trying to impress your will upon them, you're breaking my heart. You're supposed to be better than this. To me, I find, why are you stealing? Do you understand all these different variables? How is this a value to your life? Do you understand? And I created to a space where they have to now make the decision on their own. That way they have that moral barometer of their own. Not mom, them. You know what I'm saying? And then when Holy Spirit's like, yo, you ain't supposed to be doing that. And their friend's like, I don't care what Holy Spirit say, you do what I want to. I don't care what your mama say, you do what I want to. They're still going to lean towards, yo, I ain't giving Satan no dominion over here. I ain't no easy win.